Good morning, everybody. So, welcome back to geography class, and let's start with the chapter 3, migration. Now, as all of you know, this topic migration is a very important topic, and already some of the meaning of the migration you have already studied in chapter 2nd. I have explained you a brief definition, brief explanation about migration, but here we are going to see in detail how the migration, first of all the meaning of migration, then we are going to see about the types of migration, and then the impact of migration on the socio-economic structure of our society, means the impact of migration actually on the human population, and the last topic we are going to see about what is brain drain, so and what is the causes of brain drain, the different factors which affect the brain drain, and the impact of brain drain, both the positive impact and the negative impact of brain drain. Well, so we are going to see here, and today this is the first part, because this is a long chapter, so it will be not finished in one period, or one just session or two session. So let's see how much time it will take, but I will not just take it too much time, because the modules now I will take this session with a very brief time. So let's start here with the migration. All of you know, first of all let's see about the introduction, and all of you know about that both the human beings, means the human, now we human beings, all of you know, we are, the scientific name of the human being is Homo sapiens. So we belongs to the group of the Homo sapien. Now, as all of you know, during the excavation there are so many the bones, and so many the remainings of the very old civilization. They have all been discovered from the different parts of the world, and the scientists, they have researched about all these remains, means the bones and all, about the ancient civilization. Some of the ancient civilization actually, or some of the human beings, the remainings of the human beings, the bones and etc., they have found actually of about so many thousands of years old, millions of years old even. Well, but the scientists also, they have seen one thing, that even they have actually researched, and they have found the genes, they have studied the genes of from these bones, and what they have found, that the old bones and the remnant and all things, actually the leftover things which have been discovered, that is during from very old time, million years back. Now all the scientists, they actually, in one thing they are all agree, that all these, the human beings, they were not the family of Homo sapiens, because the genes, it doesn't resembles, and this is why actually the different the remainings and the bones of the people, so usually they just gave a different name. Even the scientific name also is given differently according to the genes. Well, so that's the history actually. But here, if you're going to see about the human beings, that is the Homo sapien, and the relationship between the human being and the natural environment. Now, in the ancient time, as the humans were not so developed, they don't have the scientific knowledge, and that's why during the natural disasters, sometimes they were unable to just control the environment around them, and especially the natural disasters, they are unable to just survive sometimes. And what happened time to time, the people, whenever they face some type of very tough challenges, especially in the form of natural disasters, so they ran from one part of the world to another, from there to another. Well, now if you will study, and already some of you have studied in history and about the humans, that from where the human beings or the civilization of the human being started. And the history, it tells that the most oldest civilization was the Mesopotamian civilization. And in fact, this civilization is also known as the cradle of human race. So all the philosopher and the historians and even geographer and scientists, they all agree and they all believe that the human beings, actually the first civilization was started from the Mesopotamia. And what happened, as the population start increasing and they also start facing so many climatic change, so many natural disaster, because of that they started migrating from there, and they migrated to Egypt, then they migrated to Indus Valley in Pakistan, and another group migrated to China, Huanghe Valley, and thus actually the three more Asian civilizations started. And what were they? Egyptian civilization in Egypt, then the Indus Valley civilization in Indus Valley, that is in Pakistan now, and Chinese civilization, we also call it Yellow civilization, that is in the Huanghe River Valley. So usually these are the four most Asian civilization, but what we see about it, the cradle means the start of the human civilization, that was the Mesopotamia. And the first example of migration, the first example of this migration, we can see where? We can see it, that is the people started migrating from the Mesopotamia to the different other parts of the world, that is in Indus Valley, to China, and to Africa, that is in Egypt. And further what happened, from these places the people start migrating to other parts of the world. And this is how the human beings, they spread over all the face of the earth. And even actually in America, means North America and South America also, because when you study about the history of North America and South America, and when you will study about the races, the human race there in North America, South America, you will come to know that even before Vasco da Gama has discovered the sea route to India. So it was Christopher Columbus, first of all, when he discovered North America, means the whole America. But even before Christopher Columbus, the people were living in North America and South America. It means the people, the human race, it already has reached to the North America and South America. And that also is confirmed with some Asian civilization which can be found there in both South America and in North America, in the form of, one is the Inca civilization, and you will study in the upper classes, higher classes you will study. And in fact the native people, especially in North America, they were still known as Red Indians, right? And there in the tribal people living there in the Amazon basin, they are known as Amazonians, right? So they are different tribes. Still some of the people still live the same old tribal life. Well, now all these things suggest actually that this human being, they just spread over all the surface of the earth. How? That is by the migration. So first of all, we can see straightway we can see the migration, right, from very ancient time. This migration we can see from very ancient time when the human race, they started migrating from the Mesopotamia to the other Asian civilizations, to other places, and from there they just spread the whole face, every part of the earth, over the whole face of the earth. And and even if we see, and if we just research, and we will find the causes, so we will find actually the most important thing actually was the that is the complex relationship between the human and the natural environment. And as all of you know now, at present, because of the so advanced scientific knowledge, now the human beings actually, now human can actually not only control the nature, means the environment, but the human beings, they are also degrading the environment. So human beings actually, they are capable of both things. They can build anything, even they can destroy. So same thing we can find near our place, or in our country, or all over the world. In different countries you can find the same thing. So here actually both the thing what we are going to see, that the human beings, they impact the environment, and at the same time the environment also impact the human beings. So that is a very, very complex relationship between the humans and the natural environment. Now another thing, if you find, from the very ancient time, because at that time the people, they don't have the so vast knowledge, they don't know about so many things that's happening in the environment, as how the season changes, how the natural disaster occurs, so many things. Now that's why they started worshipping the nature. And what happened? So all these people, they started worshipping different type of gods, and most of the things, in most cases you will find, it was the nature. So most of the god actually you will find, they were connected to somehow the nature. Well, that is the one thing, because why the human beings, they were unable to understand so many things that happening in the nature and in the environment. Well, but now because we have so vast knowledge, and the scientists, that's why they don't believe in God. A large number of scientists, they don't believe actually in God. Why? Because of the knowledge. Now they can actually think that they can control the nature, right? And because of their vast knowledge, now because they know that why the season changes, why the natural disaster occurs, so they know actually that there is no hand of anything, super being, right? But well, still actually so many of us, we believe in God, but it's not just to hurt anybody, but as I'm teaching you here about the migration, just to describe you about the different the things actually, or the different thought pattern of the human beings. So I have to put it in front of you. So now next is now another thing, if you'll find, that how actually the human beings, now we are a most important factor in what thing, in shaping the environment. So what happened, you will find, now example we can see, there was a time actually when the large area of the earth was covered with the forest, and first of all the human beings, they started cutting the forest, what for? To start the agriculture. So many of the forests were cut in order to do the agricultural practices. And again, when the population starts growing, so many of the agricultural land, they were developed into the First of all the villages, and then the towns, and those towns they develops into a big cities, and those big cities develops into a metropolitan cities. Well, and as with the advancement, with the development, so the human beings they started constructing the roads, the railway network, and so many things. And what happened, a large area of forest all over the world already have been cut, and because of that, all of you know how, because of the cutting of the forest, we call it deforestation. Now deforestation start affecting what thing, the nature. So because of one thing, just one thing, for the development sake, as the human beings they have cut the forest, and just one reason, because of just one reason, deforestation, that resulted into what thing, it results into so many natural disasters. As we can see so many examples like global warming. We can see about the effect of greenhouse effect, that is the ozone depletion. We will study all of these, right, in the coming chapters, or maybe in the higher classes, next class even maybe. Well, now all of these things actually, they were all started, why, they were all are the, everything what I told you, these are the actually the impact of the development. So this thing actually, how these are the some example by which actually the human beings, in order to actually, human being actually are the most important factor in shaping the environment. So we have seen actually that how actually the human beings they are having a very very complex relationship between the with the nature, that is environment. Now next let's move to the migration. Now actually already we have seen from very ancient time, right? First of all you're going to see about the meaning of migration. So what is the meaning of migration? So in a very very simple language, if you find here, migration means the movement of people from one area to another area, maybe from the village to another village, or village to urban places, or maybe from the urban places to another urban places, means the cities to cities, or maybe from one state to another state within the country, or even maybe from one country to another country, or maybe from one continent to another continent. So these are the different actually types of migration we will see. But migration, in a very simple language, we can say that the movement of people from one area to another area, that is called migration. So this is very very simple. This is one example of also one question, what is migration? So what is the answer? Only this thing you have to write. The movement of people from one area to another area is called migration. So this question actually will consist of 2 marks, maybe 1 marks even, okay? So 2 marks question, but this is the answer. We call it the key answer. Now after this you can even elaborate it in your own 1 or 2 sentences, you can write by your own, but this is the key answer. What is the answer? The important answer, most important answer, you can remember it. The movement of people from one area to another area is called migration. Okay, well, after that you can explain in 1, 2 or 3 sentences more, you can write by your own. Now next is, let's see about the some examples of migration. Now when we talk about the migration, if you find around your means in your neighborhood, or maybe in your relationship, or maybe in your friend circle or your family friends, now you will find actually sometimes what happen, some people or maybe some young guy actually after completing his education he gets the good job in some other cities. So what happen, he just shift to that city. Now this is a one kind of migration, because he got the job there. Suppose anybody from Gorakhpur, from any family, he get the job to Mumbai. Now what happened, first of all he just shifts to Mumbai. Now he just takes one apartment on rent, and then he started working there, living there in Mumbai. Then he engaged with some girl, or maybe the parents they get some girl from there only, or maybe if he get married. So what happened, he just shifts his family also to Mumbai. Now when what happened, his family, his children, he gets some children, and his children starts studying there, and slowly what happens, the whole family settles there in Mumbai. The same way, actually, this is a one type of migration, and this we call it individual migration. Means one person, he migrated there first of all to another place, and then what happened, he shifts there, and when he just increase his family, so with his family he just shifted in that place where he was working. But in case sometimes also, now let's see another example of the family unit. Family unit, suppose one person actually get a better job there from, suppose in UP, from some village area, and some guy, any means man actually, after completing his higher education, he get a very very good job of some officer in some department, government department maybe, or maybe in some corporate sector, and he just get a job suppose in Hyderabad, or maybe suppose let's take example of Bangalore. Now Bangalore is a very beautiful city, very developed city, very big city, and climate is also very good. Now when he shifts there, and he found that the whole environment and everything is very good, so because of his position, because he is officer, so he just arranged another two more jobs for his two younger brothers. Now his two younger brother also shifts to Bangalore. Now as all the three brothers, they have shifted there, so what happened, they call their parents also, and now the whole family, they have shifted where, in Bangalore. Now this is the one example of a family migration. So migration, family unit. Now here it actually, it is written family unit or in large groups, but this large group actually is, it will be not a or, it will be another example. Now let's see a third example. Now third example, let's see example recently. There is just 2-3 years back, what happened in Syria. A large area of Syria was actually captured by the terrorist group known as ISIS, that is ISIS in short form we call it. So as they have captured the whole Syria, and they started persecuting the people living, the native people, and large number of people, means actually in a group of thousands people, they started leaving their country and migrating to the other countries, European countries. So let me just show you one example here, one figure here. This example has been shown here actually in this figure, as you can see, figure 3.3, it is shown here. This is the old figure. So here it is shown that how you can find a large number of group of people is standing here, right? They want to get some train or maybe bus, so they want to just migrate to some other country. Now here it is written, the conflicts in the Middle East and Africa have triggered one of the biggest humanitarian crises. As a result, EU, means European Union, expected 3 million immigrants would enter Europe by the end of 2016. So it already happened. It was expected in 2016. Already this migration have already occurred, and in the Syria actually what happened, large number of people, right, they have already migrated to the nearby countries. Now here this is the example, is which type of example? Migration in a large group. So we have seen first of all about the meaning of migration, and the next we have seen about the three examples of migration, that is individual, then family, and the in a large group. Now let's see here about two types of more examples. Now first of all is the nomadic movement. Now there is a one example, and that example is called the example of the migration, we call it nomadic movement. Now what is the meaning of nomadic movement? Now from very ancient time, especially we will see the example of the Central Asia, the region of Ukraine, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, in Afghanistan also, right? Now here usually the tribal people, what happen, they don't just live at one place, because they usually, their economy depends upon the cattle, And for these large herds of cattle, they need the grasslands. And in search of grasses, actually, what happened? They continuously just move from one place to another. Now, these people are known as nomads. Now, in Hindi, we call them Banjari. Well, you know about this Hindi word. Now, in India, also in Rajasthan, you can find these type of nomads, means nomadic people. They are very, very common. So what happened? They also migrate from one place to another, but this type of migration is called nomadic movement. So this migration is called nomadic movement. Now next, let's see about the temporary movement. Temporary movement of people. So what is the temporary movement? Now suppose some group of the people, now they want to visit to some holy place, the whole family. They suppose they go to some place like Varanasi or Allahabad or maybe Jammu Kashmir. Now that can be a case of maybe pilgrimage, maybe a tourism, or maybe a travel purpose just to attend some marriage. Now that is also a movement of the people from one place to another, but we can't call it migration. In fact, actually the nomadic movement is also not called migration. So this type of movement actually is called temporary movement of people. This is not example of migration. This is not a pure form of migration. Neither the nomadic movement nor the temporary movement can be called as a pure migration. So they can be called as a movement of the people from one place to another, but they are not kept into the category of migration. Well, so we have seen about the meaning of migration, and then we have seen some two movement also. The one movement is the nomadic movement, another we have seen about the temporary movement of people. Now let's move to the next topic, that is the types of migration. So we are going to see about the 4 types of migration. So the first type of migration already you have seen in the previous chapter, that is immigration. The second type of migration is actually this word is also called immigration. Only the spelling is different. Here is IMMI, so it is immigration, and here it is EMIGRATION. This is also immigration. But just to create a difference between them, so we will pronounce it. This one will pronounce immigration, but this one we will pronounce immigration, just to make a difference. Otherwise you will find there is in the pronunciation there is no difference. They both are pronounced in the same way. So first is the immigration, second is the immigration, then third is the rural urban migration, and the fourth type of migration is the urban means urban place, means city to city migration. So today, let's see here about the 4 types of migration. So first of all is the immigration. Now before we start this, now let me show you one map actually, and in this map we will see about the global international migration flow. Now here if you will find here this green color, it actually shows the migration from both Europe and Asia together, because Europe and Asia they are one land mass. So here you will find this green color that shows both sides here. If you see here, in fact actually it is a dark green, it is black, looking black in your screen maybe, right? So we will see this green color, it shows about the migration from European country to the other countries, and here the black color, it shows the migration from Asia to other countries. Then here is one orange color that shows the migration from the West Russia to the East Russia, other parts of Russia. Then here another brown color shows the migration from India to the different parts of the world, and the red color that shows the migration from Africa to the other parts of the world. In fact there are some other colors also that shows the migration from the different countries to the different places. So you will find here these are the different colors Here shows the different color shows from the different places, like Europeans migration from the Europe, from Africa orange, that is the red color, South Asian countries, that is the brown color, Chinese from China, this is shows about the black color, European Jews, then about the Africans and the Canadians, that is all shown by the same color, black color. Then the Russia, that shows about with the orange color here. Then the Mexican and the Central American, it is also shown with the black color same. Then Caribbean means the Caribbean island, the people migrated to North America. And then the Southeast Asia, this is a dark somewhat different reddish color, right? So these are the arrows. Now if you find here the biggest migration flow that shows, you can find here, this is a green color, that shows a large number of people from Europe, that is from European, they migrated to North America, Central America, North, even South America. Then they have migrated to Australia, New Zealand, even the South Africa, right? So this is a migration flow from Europe. And this thing, if you see, it started from the 14th century, when the Europeans, they started discovering the new land. And 1492, when North means America was discovered. After that, actually, in the 17th century, when Australia was discovered, New Zealand was discovered. So what happened? Large mass of people from Europe, they started migrating to these continents. After that, from Africa, actually, these Europeans, they started taking African people as a slave to work in their farmlands, in the plantation farming there in Brazil, in Venezuela, then in here in so many South American countries, even in North America, to United States of America, Canada, Mexico. Then after that, many people were also taken at that time from India even. Means not only India, but the whole Southeast Asia. When we talk about Southeast Asia, that means India, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, even there is Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, all these countries together are called South Asian countries, right? Well, okay, let's see here. So large number of people from India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, from Myanmar, all these people, they were taken also to work in the farmlands there. So also as a slave and also as a worker. So this is the another example you can find here. After Africa, from India, I mean South Asia also, the people were taken. Then from China also you can find the people, they just migrated to, first of all, this arrow shows that they have migrated to North America, western coast of North America. Still you can find the Chinese race on the western coast. Then they also spread in all these countries, in Asian countries like Myanmar, there in the Thailand, in Malaysia and Indonesian islands. That's why you can find these Mongol race, means Chinese race, in all these places. So this is the example of a global international migration flow. Now this shows about the world migration since 1500. So this whole migration that shows since 1500 how the large number of people, they migrated to the different parts of the world. Okay, now let's start with the first topic, and this is the immigration. So what do you mean by the immigration? Now immigration actually is the international movement of people from one country to some destination country. What does it mean? Now suppose, already I explained you, but let me explain it again. Now suppose, actually with the map, actually let me show you. Now suppose from India, if people migrate to North America or they migrate to Europe, so from this perspective, means from America, now America, they will call these people as immigrants, and this whole thing will call as immigration. So these people, they migrated to this destination country for the better job. So this is the example of immigration, and these people are known as immigrants. Now the next one. Now example already I have given you. Now another thing is the e-migration. Now what do you mean by e-migration? Now e-migration means when the people, suppose from India they migrate to, we have already seen from let me show you the map here. From India, suppose the people they migrate to America. Now from India, the perspective of India from here, so what we will call this whole thing as immigration, and the people are known as immigrant. From America, the people, they will call these people as immigrants, but what we will call them immigrants, and this whole migration will be called e-migration. So this is the example we have seen about the immigration and e-migration. Now let's see some of the example of the immigration and e-migration. Now one example, let me tell you. Now what happened? One example is the, let me show you the map here, with the map actually, that will be easier. So in the one example, what happened? Now here all of you know there is a Britain, and here is Ireland also, one small island. So what happened? There was a one great famine occurred here in Ireland, and large number of people from Ireland, they migrated to United States of America. So what happened? So in the United States, these all Irish people, they were known as the immigrants, and this process is called immigration. And still actually the Irish people are known as the immigrants, especially large number of people who have migrated during that great famine in Ireland. Well, but here in Ireland, what they say? Now these people actually, those who actually remained there in Ireland, now they call these people as immigrants. And what they call that these people were immigrated. So this is a one example. This migration was taken place, that is during the great famine that occurred there in Ireland. Now another example. Now here actually in Caribbean island, there is a one island known as Jamaica. Now what happened here? So now what happened? The people from Jamaica, now what happened? They usually try to migrate to United States of America for a better job, right? And usually they just time to time they go to USA, because this Jamaica is very close here also. And now what happens here? Because United States of America, it is a very developed country, but Jamaica actually is not so developed. Well, what happened? A large number of people, they usually went to United States of America. Now because of this, what happened? There was a loss of population here that occurred in Jamaica, right? Loss of people means loss of population. But at the same time, people from Africa, they also migrated to Jamaica. So what we have seen here, example here. Now this is a Jamaica. From here, people, they have migrated to USA. But at the same time, many people from Africa, they also migrated to Jamaica. Now this is actually a balance. This is actually called one balance. Let's see here. Example. What does it mean? Now first of all, when the people they went to Jamaica, there was a loss of population. Already we have seen. But when the people, African people, they migrated to Jamaica, now what happened? Jamaica have gained through this immigration. At one hand, they have lost through the immigration, but they have gained through the immigration, right? So this creates one balance. Now suppose the number of the people who migrated from Africa to Jamaica were less in number, but more than that, means more than that people, number of people, much larger number of people, they migrate to United States of America. So what you will see here, now you will find here Jamaica will have the less population. The population will decrease. Just why? Because of the migration. So in the case of the both things, immigration and immigration, there is two things occurs. That is, first thing is the loss of population, second thing is the gain in the population, right? Now, so now let's see here. So this already we have seen here one example. Now some more example, let's see here, right? In 19th century what happened, there was in New England, right? New England actually is a one place there in United States of America, in the here the East Coast. Usually this place in North America, one place is called New England. Now why this place is called New England? Because in fact you may have heard about one city, New Jersey. Now what is New Jersey? New Jersey is in United States of America, but there is one place, Jersey, in United Kingdom. So the same people, large number of people from this place, when they migrate to United States of America and the place where they settled, so they named it, first of all, that whole big region, they named it New England. Okay, so same thing actually, this is one example I am telling you, that how actually the people, when the large number of people, sometimes when they migrate to in a group, and when they migrate to some country and they settle together, so even what happened, they just name that place on the name of the same country from where they came. And this is why you can find many cities. Some cities, suppose you will find in Europe, same name you will find in United States of America or maybe in Canada. Why? Because from that city, when the people they went there, only they just added one word there, New Orleans. You may have heard about, this is one city, right? Well, many example is there. They just add one word, New, right? Well, so this is, we have seen about the two things. First of all, about the immigration, and second is immigration, right? Now next, let's see here, the third type of migration is the rural urban migration. Now what is the rural urban migration? When the large number of people from the villages, they migrate to the urban places, big cities, in search of the new jobs and the lifestyle, better opportunities. Now this is called the rural urban migration. Now this example we can find in our country, when the large number of people from the different villages, they continuously migrating to the cities. Okay, now next example, next type of migration is the urban migration. Urban migration, suppose you can find actually nowadays from Gorakhpur, now large number of people, they are studying in the engineering colleges and the business colleges, means the MBA or etc. So after this actually they get the better job in the much better city, like in Mumbai, or maybe in Hyderabad, or maybe in Lucknow or other cities, right? So what happened, they settle there. Now that is example of urban migration, means from one city, when people they just migrate to some other cities in search of better job, better opportunity, better life, sometimes from one country, from one country to another city in some other country. Now this example also is a which type of migration? Now this is called urban migration. So we have seen here the four type of migration. What is it? The first we have seen about the immigration, second is the immigration, third we have seen about the rural urban migration, and the fourth one we have seen about the urban migration. Now today only this much. Now the next period, next session, we will start about the impact of migration, Then we will see about the advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so all the best to all of you. So read the whole chapter